confessions. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to bring it up.
That's true.
This came up when Murray and I were first together, and I found that I was keeping track of all of his mistakes. And I was keeping track of all the things he forgot and the dumb things he did, and you know, he'd go the wrong direction and he'd forget things. And this is before he was identified with attention deficit disorder, even though I had asked him, do you think you might be ADD? It's like, no. So he felt shame even about being curious about finding out about it.
Husbands, you might want to sit down when you hear this.
So I started keeping track of all the things he was doing, and I was so ashamed of myself, because Murray is a fabulous person, and I adore him. And I did not want to be keeping track of what he was doing wrong. And so I was mad at me, and I was mad at him for making so many mistakes, so that I was keeping track of them, so I was mad at me, so I was mad at him. Anyway, it was just, I couldn't figure a way to get out of it.
And I'm the one on meds.
So I took myself away, and I just said, I need help. I need a shift. I need something. And I got an idea. I got a vision. And so I thought, okay, I'll do this. So the next time it came up, we happened to be going through a coffee drive-through. And I said, Murray, I have all these thoughts and feelings in me that I don't want to be having, but I don't know what to do with them. I can't get them out. And so I said, would you hold my finger?
It brings it all back.
So would you hold my finger? And as it turns out, this connects to a part of the brain that is produces oxytocin. I didn't know that, but something in me did. And I covered my head with a sweater because I felt so ashamed of these thoughts and feelings. And I told him what I wanted to do. I wasn't saying these were true. I was just saying this is how I was feeling, and I felt terrible. And all I wanted him to do was just say, I love you. So that was his only job, was to say, I love you. So I started out, and I said, I've been keeping track of all the mistakes you've been making.
I love you.
And you've been making so many of them.
I love you.
You drive me crazy. I can't depend on you, and it scares me.
I love you.
And I'm mad at me because I don't want to be the kind of person who's keeping track of all of your mistakes. So I'm mad at you for making all these mistakes and making me feel bad about me.
I love you.
And that's what would happen, is I would feel a sigh, and then I would go down another level. Do you want to talk about what was happening for you when you were only able to say I love you?
Well, it has the effect it had on me, giving a lot of compassion. And that's the gift. So giving Vicki the space to say all that and then not retaliate, that she set it up in a way that made it safe and set up a rule, a condition, set up the space to make it okay, and for me to just not react. To let me hear it that way, that she was ashamed of it, that she didn't want to have it, wasn't proud of it, taking a stand for it. Let me have compassion for it, and got me so I didn't have to react or retaliate.
Or solve the problem. And here's the part that got real. Because we did this, and I sighed, and this is what I finally got to. I'm afraid I married somebody who's not smart enough for me. Now, when I've done this in workshops and said this, the audience groans. It's like, how could you possibly say that to anybody? But it was, I was having this horrible thought, this horrible fear, and to be able to confess it. I don't know what to hold my finger now. To be able to confess it and have him know that I didn't want to be afraid of that, but I was afraid of that. And to have him give me compassion, that's what love looks like. It makes me cry now. That's what love looks like. I'm struggling to get out of this place. He's giving me the space to do it and telling me he loves me and hanging on. And let me tell you, if we'd had time today, we were going to do it, because we had to do a confession just the other day. Only it was Murray giving me a confession. So we do this. We do take turns with this. But this is an advanced skill. If you have any desire to hurt the other person, this isn't going to work. This might take some coaching to get you here.
There has to be a lot of trust in the emotional bank account,
Yeah,
as I guess Stephen Covey would say.
Yeah.
In that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because this is major stuff.
but it gives us something that we can do to clear the air so that we can be exactly the way we are. We don't have to be any different, and we can let out all the stuff that's in us in the safest place with compassion, no intention of hurting anybody either way. I mean, it really turned out to be pretty darn brilliant, I must
This
say.
is pretty brilliant.
And we,
One of the best.
and we don't have to use it very often, but I don't.
You don't have to use it very often.
Is there a confession in there somewhere? And I'll go, yes!
And you don't have to use it very often when you're not saying yes when you really mean no, and you're taking care of yourself.